Hello, everyone. We are live again today with Jake Dunlap. Thank you, Jake, for coming.
What's up,
Um,
man? How are you?
Doing great. Yeah, good to see you. I became completely used to this COVID lockdown. I'm here in Italy. We're almost at 1 month. We're hitting 1 month tomorrow, but it's like, give me more. I can take it kind of situation right now where I'm like, fully I put up my pull-up bar yesterday on the roof, so
All
I'm also
right.
I have my own walking desk. I have this other thing called QB that it's basically an elliptical below the desk. So
All
I've
right.
been finding it quite well, and I think I can go on for a lot longer if that's needed. So
Well, it sounds like things are improving over there, at least from what I can hear. So that's a good thing.
yeah, exactly. In fact, I'm Italian American only since 2 years. So I have been concerned about Americans. A bunch of my American friends on Facebook told me, thanks for sharing all that stuff on COVID. I mean, it helped me to realize how serious it was. This was like weeks before. Where are you based, by the way?
I'm in Austin.
Awesome. Yeah, been there for
Yeah.
South by Southwest. So the way I
Yeah.
connected it with Jake, I want to mention this because actually something happened through is that I wanted to know, like, let me connect with my LinkedIn network. Like, I have 22,000 followers. Who are these people? And so I was able to manually put all those people into a Google sheet, and then I started to sort them by who are the most influential ones, like who got the most followers. And Jake has got about, I think, 34,000 followers, if I remember right.
Mhm.
I'm only at 22K, so thanks for being here. So and then I just started reaching out to all these people and said, hey, how about we get to know each other, we go live, we talk, we just have an interview as if we're meeting at South by Southwest right now, and I would be asking, where are you, where are you from, what do you do, and then we just start talking about it. But luckily we also get other people on board, and guys, please feel free to ask us any comments. LinkedIn comments come in like not super
Yeah.
smoothly compared to other platforms. So I'll also add there a couple of links of a Telegram group and a WhatsApp group I've set up. So you can also write me there in case it doesn't go through the LinkedIn Live. We definitely want to make this interactive if you have any questions. But that's how I met with Jake. He was my network, and so now Jake, I'll let you intro yourself. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about who you are and going a little bit more about what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, I'm looking forward to the conversation. So I run a sales consulting and strategy company, Scaled, and we work with some of the most exciting, growing companies in the tech and non-tech ecosystems. And then we work with a lot of large organizations that are trying to modernize different aspects of their sales and marketing organization. So usually we're coming in and partnering with senior leadership around change management initiatives that, sales training has not, sales training has a time and a place, but usually you need lasting change. And that's usually when people will bring in our team, whether it's around kind of the bleed in digital marketing between sales and marketing, or more traditional, optimizing demand generation, optimizing sales process, and then the change management that goes along with it, because that's such a key component of everything, is making sure that it actually takes within the organization and that you see it through. So that is a high level. There's a lot that goes in there. We've got about 35 people, Austin, New York, and a bunch of remote.
Great.
So we've got, that's the high level.
That's super cool. Yeah, and then basically, looking at your profile, I remember seeing, growth. I think I saw some kind of enough relative amount of focus on SaaS as well, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So definitely we can talk about SaaS. I mean, I'd love to show you the latest SaaS that we've released, just so that kind of what we're doing, and maybe we could also take that as an example. Like kind of to understand what kind of stuff you could do for like a SaaS entrepreneurs like myself. And I know a lot of other SaaS entrepreneurs. I must say, after about me, once again, like I was at Nokia Microsoft for 7 years, so big company, more on the hardware side, transitioned to the software. Did my first startup 5 years ago. But that was kind of a crowdfunding solution for schools, universities, and schools, universities don't really have that much money, even though we sold a few SaaS licenses. And then for the last couple of years, I've been focused on SaaS, and now we have like a service active on the market with 30,000 users, and now we crossed 500 paying customers. And now we just released this other one, so Share Doc View. So I'll just show you. You might have seen like kind of similar solutions in the market. So it's a tool to basically share your PDF doc with a link, so you can get analytics and leads. You know exactly who opened the doc for how long. So you just sign up, upload a doc, share the links, and you're done. And really, the analytics piece is the most important. And you don't need to install anything. You can update the docs from the cloud in case you made a mistake on your PDF. You don't really want to stop attaching PDFs. And then you have Google Drive and Dropboxes, but they have a ton of files. People don't really know what to share. This is the place where you just upload the files that need to be shared and get really that information, as well as you can get email leads through this. So we're starting also. You can put your watermark and stuff. We're starting with a pretty aggressive pricing. There's competitors in this free segment that charge $15 a month, and others that in this, we charge $5, they charge $65 per month. So we're definitely starting on that, and that's kind of like what we built. So there's a free forever plan. So obviously for anybody here, feel free to sign up. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been busy in the last 6 to 7 months. It's been awesome building it with my co-founder Christian, a Bulgarian developer living in Mexico for a while. So we built it completely remotely. We were just talking once per week of 1 hour. So literally in like 24 hours across 6 months, we built this, and that was like an incredible exercise. So I just, first I'll let you, give, any thoughts on this, and then maybe I'll start asking some follow-up questions.
Where are you at in the go-to-market process? Meaning, like, do you have customers? Tell me a little bit about where you're at.
So we literally just 3 to 6 months. We literally just soft launched last week. So we're like, I did the first round of UX testing, and then I was like, okay, I think we're done. We incorporated with Stripe Atlas, and so now we're on, right? So first transactions are happening. But basically, we realized, like, as we keep going, even though UX testing was like, I felt like I had a green light, then as more users started using it, for instance, we figure out that, like, hey, for instance, one thing that I feel before we keep pushing more on the product is the ability to add a link. So if you add a link on your PDF, share doc view should let you click on that when you show that, because that's important for lead generation or for actions. So we're still kind of in the go-to-market. We're still before the actual kind of pushing heavily on the accelerator or pedal to the metal. We're still like finalizing the UX there. So that's where we are. And then I can talk to you about some of my ideas about how I want to go there once we start accelerating, or what I would like to do. But yeah, and I'll let you talk a little bit more in case you have any other questions.
And then who's the primary buyer? So when you think about this, and this is for anybody out there, I think the biggest issue I see with companies at your stage, and maybe this will temper your answer. I don't know, maybe it won't. I want you to answer very truthfully though. Actually, you know what? Before I give my advice, I'm gonna retread. Who is your potential buyer?
And I'm so truthful is that, like, I didn't have my dessert, so sometimes I'll have a bit of tiramisu if you don't mind. So this is like how I'm Italian. I'm super direct. I'm from Southern Italy. Whatever I think I say, I can't even hold it. So no worries about that. But what we're looking at, we definitely want to start from like professionals. So it could be like lawyers that still send out a lot of PDFs, right? People that send PDFs. So there could be in a small company, they send those PDF presentations. They have no idea kind of who opened it up when, right? They cannot follow up at the right time. They have no idea if they looked at the whole presentation. So it's definitely like those what we call it in Italian liberi professionisti, so professionals like lawyers or notaries, and that still heavily use PDFs, and small and medium enterprises. We also
who within the small and medium enterprises. So you've got lawyers and notaries over in this bucket. Then you've got small and medium enterprises. Like what does that mean?
I would say anyone that in sales of a small medium enterprise that sends PDF.
So sales teams.
Sales and marketing teams that send PDFs is now our target.
Only PDFs.
Mainly right now, right. Maybe if they already use a competitive solution and maybe due to COVID they want to cut costs, that's also another potential area. And actually, I know a couple of solutions that are really not good at all from a technical perspective. Like it was like a startup that sold to a big company, and you usually know what happens afterwards if the integration doesn't go well, right? Also technology breaks.
Right.
And so we could go after those guys as well.
Okay. All right. So you've got small and medium sales teams, lawyers and notaries, other people, right? Like the number one mistake is it's too different, man. You're building two completely different products. What do lawyers and notaries care about? Security. What do sales teams care about? They don't give a shit about security. So if you start trying to go to market to groups that are too disparate, you start to waste dev cycles. And consistently with companies at your stage in particular, what I see is that they actually don't narrow the market enough to say, look, for now, we're going to focus on this. It's not that you can't play over here 10, 15% of your time. That's fine.
Exactly.
But it's like you're going to build for this group is your main assumption, with maybe, again, like testing one or two smaller other things. You know, that to me is where I would start. And I think, you know, so where your value prop becomes very quickly, we sell to small and medium sales teams who don't need a very robust solution like a ClearSlide, Brainshark, ShowPad, all these other PandaDoc, right? The other tools that do this thing. Instead, they need to know the basics, that they did this, and then the business outcomes that we drive for small and medium sales teams is this, this, and this. And so for you, I think the key would be, or we worked in established industries that need visibility for these three reasons, 1, 2, 3. And so that would be my quick take on it is spend a little bit of time just narrowing in those types of folks. You know, that's where I would think about it.
That's really great. That's really great advice, I would say. And I actually did have that, so that I kind of want to do some tests and some trials, you know, like the little I've been reading about growth hacking and growth marketing, which I definitely want more, is that like, it's basically to also try out different experiments and also see what sticks, right? And then compare, right? So we could have like, we could see like what happened with, you know, after connecting with, you know, 100 lawyers or 100 people in the sales and marketing of a small medium enterprise, and you could go like industry by industry in small and medium enterprises to see like what happens there as well, or region by region as well.
Well, you got to think about what you don't want to do though. Is, I mean, the classic book around this is Crossing the Chasm by Jeff Moore, right? And he kind of created this concept that you form beachheads. And what you think about beachheads, it's here and then it's here. It's not here and then here and here. So my next question would be, okay, so sales and marketing teams at small and medium business, what's the next step out? Well, could we, you know, is there sales and marketing's, you know, teams that are too focused on this, you know, or this, or like, is it slightly larger sales and marketing teams because they're going to have more robust? And where's your threshold? Because those teams already have Seismic or ShowPad or one of these other tools. Because this space in the sales tech space is already super, what do you call it? There's a lot of players, right, that are in this space in the sales tech side. And so maybe, again, it's like the pain in the ass version, but going the lawyer side, and then like, what big law firms? What are these? Intralinks, right? That's where they track. Like that's the big lawyer one.
Yeah, right now we wouldn't go to like big companies or big law firms, right? Which stay still like on the small and more small size, right? Small enterprise, medium, max. Not the big ones, because those guys usually like, you know, either require a lot of integrations, or anyways, you know, they're, as you, I mean, you probably know that better than me. It's always longer sales cycles, you know, bigger, more money, but you know, that's not what we want right now. We want like quick feedback, quick iteration, quick wins.
But here's what I want you to think about: who you get quick feedback from matters. And I think where I see so many entrepreneurs struggle, or you look at your market cap and you want to build, let's say you want to build a $30 million company, right? You want to do 30 million in ARR in the next 5 to 10 years, whatever that looks like. You start to build and iterate for a market that's never going to get there. You know, you start and build and iterate for a $5 million market. And so the companies that I see win, they're not over, you can't plan everything in advance. But what they do is they at least do some plan, you know, like additional focusing early on. Focus is the key word, right? Go small to go big. You know, like if you want to build a massive company, you know, what you need to do first is focus on building a smaller like beachhead into a specific vertical, and then go from there.
let me ask you one thing on that. And by the way, I already see a lot of value about what you do, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Getting more into this, what you do. But I think people will actually appreciate more what you do by seeing like a kind of a demo session that we're having, to be honest. And I'm enjoying this. So, but one thing I want to focus on is to actually focus on LinkedIn, right? And focus on my LinkedIn influencers. So
sure.
We actually kicked off a little software, which I'm happy to share with you after this, sure. Which basically automatically like gets what I did manually, the list of followers of your LinkedIn followers, does it like more automated, right? Boom, click sure. One thing, done. And I calculated basically my top 2,000 followers have up to like they usually have above 10,000 followers themselves, and they themselves reached to 40 million people, which was pretty amazing. And then all my 22,000 followers, they reached to 80 million people. I mean, of course, we know that out of 2,000 people that have at least 10,000 followers, maybe I will be able to reach out to 100 or 200 or something like that, or that will respond. Although I actually had very good response rates, because people, when I go on a live, especially these days, maybe with COVID, like people are really appreciating this, like, kind of, and it is like, to be honest, a pretty truthful, and we're like having a conversation that now I had so many lives. Sorry, I hope you didn't consider to be rude that I was eating some tiramisu and drinking some water, but it was okay. Great. But it was like, I really want to feel like at ease. I want to feel like we were grabbing a coffee somewhere, right, South by Southwest. So it's like, I want to focus on LinkedIn, going back to where I'm going, because I know a little bit about the platform. And then from there, it might, I want to focus on those LinkedIn influencers that have a lot of people following them, and that in itself might not be a specific focus on a specific industry or something like that, but it's kind of like a specific persona that tends to share a lot, that can impact a lot of people. So what do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, look, follower counts matter to an extent, but the real way that you judge who's an influencer or not is interaction. Like, how many comments and likes do they get? Because that says that their message, getting a bunch of followers is easy. I can go request in Sales Navigator 82 connection requests, and it takes me 12 minutes. So getting followers is easy. It's super, super easy. So anytime I see someone with 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, there's people I know that have like 5,000 or 6,000 followers that get more engagement than most people with like 20 or 30. And I think that you have to look at this as you're building a community, right? Like, you're building a community to engage with. And if you don't take that approach, you're not going to be successful. If you're not creating content for the community, and also the market will tell you, if nobody's commenting or responding, then your content's garbage, and I think too many people, they get hung up on it's follower count plus engagement. If you're just focused on one or the other, you're going to be in trouble. And so you've got to focus on both. And then every post, everything is a data point. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. That's interesting. Okay. Well, that worked. That didn't work. Okay. Wow. Like, that really resonated. I wonder why that resonated. And I know, man, like, there's certain ways to game the algorithm. If you want to just get a bunch of engagement, just post inspirational videos. If you post some video that you find a meme online that shows a father meeting their daughter for the first time because they're deployed in Iraq. If you want to, a woman walks for the first time because she got this robotic leg. If you just do that, you will get a ton of engagement, right? But you're not creating community. And so I think you've got to think about that piece of it. And you said something, is nobody's commenting or responding. It doesn't matter. It does matter. I think it does matter. If nobody's commenting or responding on your post, that means your shit ain't resonating. That means you've got 22,000 or 30,000 or 50,000 followers, and no one gives a shit about what you have to say. And I feel like that's all I care about. All I care about is how many people are interacting with the content. Not for my ego, not because I'm like, ooh, this is great. It's because then I know that there's an audience and it's resonating with them. And so that's what I would be paying attention to if I was making this happen right now. Like, if I was just getting involved with LinkedIn, I'd be focusing on how do I add more relevant followers, and then how do I produce content that they actually care about and engage with.
Awesome. By the way, we had a question from the audience, and audience, guys, so sorry, guys and girls, so sorry if I don't react right away. But LinkedIn is my favorite network, but the only one that doesn't show the comments on StreamYard. And I was taking notes with Jake, actually writing on our private chat, because Jake, I didn't want to go to another window. I just wanted
go for it. I pulled it up over here, so that's why if you see me looking over here, I pulled it up over here too.
Oh, it's
so
cool. Like, I was like taking notes about what you were saying. Like, I think it's amazing. One person from the audience was actually the IT head of my master, SEMS. It's actually a collection of like business schools from London School of Economics to Bocconi. He asked me whether you can download the PDF on share.view, and absolutely you can. Basically, actually, you decide whether the person who will view the link needs to enter the email immediately when they show up at the link, or if they don't need to enter it at all and can download it, or if they only need to enter it after viewing it and when they want to download it, which actually is my favorite, and it's actually a feature I've always been looking for, and that none of the other solutions had. So just to answer a question from the audience, because I always want to answer those. Going back to everything that you were saying, Professor, I was taking notes, as you could tell. And Jake, I really value everything you've been saying right now. There's one thing I would add on the engagement, is that what I noticed, some guys and girls who are really focused on engagement, is that they literally like they make one post a week or a month and they get a lot of engagement, right? And they do it just for that, and that's it, right? So yeah. And then I know there's like other people who maybe like get, who do a lot more posts, and people put a lot less likes or comments because they post a lot more content, and I'm actually one of them, for good or for bad. And I do it just because, for whatever reason, like maybe I didn't think about it so well, but then I think that you also need to go and add all the contents, all the comments, and all the likes of all the posts, and see. Then you can compare the two, right? So and then I think those people who post a lot more, they get a lot more views. They still get a lot more people who view them more often, because but they might get less engagement because people see them all the time, and they're like, they literally get tired of putting a like because they're putting so much content.
Look, I post on the weekends. Maybe it's just one time a day, but during the week, I'm posting usually twice a day, right?
Oh, wow.
At least twice a day, right? Wow. Why? Is that a lot, or is that not a lot?
I think that's a lot, but again, I'm kind of like the person that again, first of all, I'm not very good with content. Like I'm better on the tech or product side, and I definitely need to learn more about content creation. Like I'm not really a content creator. But I thought it was a lot, and that's because I'm trying to slow myself down, but it seems like that you're doing more than I'm doing. So I'm actually going to your activity, just trying to see what you're doing.
No, I do at least 2 posts a day, and then at least 1 on the weekend, sometimes 2 on the weekend, per day. Cool. Per day. I mean, like, there's just no reason not to. There's absolutely no reason not to. Like, if you think about right now, less than 2% of people post on LinkedIn, right? And so LinkedIn is there, and especially for those of you who have less followers, like LinkedIn's algorithm right now kind of favors. They made a change a few months ago where they want people to post more, so they're encouraging people with less followers to post. So, for me, I think it's important that you're putting out thoughts, you're putting out ideas, you're coming up with new, like, for you, it's about she's sharing your idea of like how to develop product in 24 hours, or how do you, I think we all have stories to share. I think not enough people just realize how to start pulling from your day-to-day and from every conversation that you have. And that's really how you come up with content at scale, is you don't worry about doing it rehearsed. You basically do it as a part of your day-to-day, as opposed to like you write out 10 posts, you do this, you do that. And that's fine. Like I know a lot of people that do it that way. But for me, especially on LinkedIn, we do kind of a mix. But on LinkedIn, if you look at for the last, I don't know the last time someone on my team posted for me on LinkedIn, but it's been a while. So I'm really focused on, it's just a part of my day, but I'm sharing shit that just happened. That's documenting. That's what I was looking for. There's people that stage, they write a bunch of content, etc. And there's people that document. I'm a documenter, right? I am documenting a conversation I had from yesterday. I'm documenting a conversation I know I have to have later or tomorrow or next week, as opposed to worrying about everything. And again, I know how to placate. I know, like, if I wanted to do X, Y, Z, but I'm going to post something that's, interesting or insightful. That's going to be my main goal. But if it's not, it's not. I don't know.
and I was trying to look at your activity, and I was stuck into your all activity, which actually is any comment and like. And then I went to your post now, so I was like, I'll definitely like try to study that more and so on. So that's cool. So
go there, check it out.
Yeah,
the link's in the comments.
Yeah. So going back to like how you advise, SaaS do you have a particular focus on SaaS, or are you around like any tech or?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of clients in non-traditional industries too. I mean, a lot of companies that are trying to modernize, right? So, we kind of grew up in like the technology world, but the things that we're doing, I mean, like one of our clients is the largest nuclear power company in the United States that has a parts division, and they're just trying to modernize, right? And so the what we teach and what we do is applicable across industries, and because we work with companies that are going through different growth or scaling challenges, when we go and apply them to more modern businesses, it actually makes things, easier because they have the infrastructure and things to pull things through at times. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah, my guest on Friday was Wes Bush from Product Led Growth, which is a book I enjoyed so much that I'm gonna write a book summary. He gave me the okay to do it because it's just like one of the books that had so much. Okay, I gotta do this. That you're like, I need to write what I'm gonna do, or I'll forget.
Right.
And actually, he was bringing up about all these examples of big companies who were moving from sales-led growth, right? So, try to call people to actually sell them something, to product-led growth, which is also a lot about like also the Adobe case of the subscription, going from $600 a month for a product to a SaaS model, right?
Yeah.
And so, he was saying exactly what you were saying, when a big company moves in the right way towards, the right direction, and it can make a really big impact. So that's cool that you're on all sorts of stuff. What percentage do you think of your company are like tech or SaaS?
Probably like I'd say like 70-80% are probably like tech, and then probably another 20% are other. That could be professional services. It could be a good mix of things.
And what's the size? I mean, you said there's some like big companies there. Like, you also work with some small startups, or mainly like?
No. Yeah, no. We've got plenty of clients that are like going through that first stage of growth, right? They're going from 5 to 20 people in their sales org, or growing their marketing org. So, I mean, I would say on the small end, they probably got 30 to 50 people, and they're kind of getting ready to start scaling. And then on the large end, so, it scales pretty quickly there. So I would say we work with a lot of companies that are going through that like first stage of growth.
When you said on the small end, 30 to 50 people, and on the large end, like how big does it get?
I mean, LinkedIn is actually our largest client. So, I mean, and they've got, I don't know, five, I don't know how many people they've got, a lot.
Yeah. My office in SF was right next to them on Howard Street. So,
yep.
Big building. Okay, so and maybe like going back to exactly like what you do, your focus on the growth and sales. Like, do you advise more in terms of like consulting, or do you provide the tools, or both? Like,
yeah, we do a lot of work around sales technology and operations. So we've done, like if the sales engagement space at all, which is, like SalesLoft, Outreach. We've done, I think, 200, well over 200 plus deployments of those two softwares. So, I mean, I really don't believe you can build a modern sales organization without technology. I think if you're not thinking constantly about efficiency gains from tech versus adding more bodies, then you're building a way you built a sales team 10 years ago. And older. And so I think a lot of people right now, for us, it's about what's their ideal customer journey, and then how do you map technology to augment that journey, coupled with how do you make the sales team more effective in doing their job. And so like that's kind of our process, is starting with what's your ideal customer experience, right? They do this step, they have an initial inquiry, an initial discovery, an initial evaluation, a formal evaluation, a closing period, an onboarding, an initial adoption, a power usage, and a renewal. That's 99% of deals. And that could be accordion if it's transactional, but everyone goes through these processes. And then how are we using technology to augment the sales team, or move the buyer forward in that journey by eliminating people, by creating automations when possible. I'm not a big fan of over automating by any stretch, but there definitely are things that people do that they just don't realize the tech exists. They're just doing things in a manual way, and they don't even realize, like, dude, wait, you're doing what? Like, dude, you know, you can create an automation rule that will literally like sync your, marketing automation data to Salesforce, to Outreach, and then automatically put those people into sequences. Like, people just don't, as opposed to like, it comes into Salesforce, you manually, look at the lead and you assign it to somebody. It's like, dude, no. Like, we can create whatever custom rules go on in your head of how you triage leads. Like, we can program the tools to just take that out of your head.
And so you mentioned SalesLoft and Outreach. So it's salesloft.com and outreach.io, if I understand right.
Yeah, that's correct.
And actually, I haven't run into those. I've been trying to do like a huge list of SaaS that can help us sell our SaaS. So one area I got a little bit stuck in has been like the chat kind of support. So I tried the Intercom, which I think is amazing, but it's like I'm afraid, like many people, that it gets super expensive because they charge by the user. And then I tried HubSpot, which has the chat feature, but it's like, I think it's a really bad user experience, and the app user experience is like even worse. I'm looking into going back to Crisp Chat, trying that out again properly. So that's been like one area, and then like, kind of similar, always like exploring different CRM, been using like here and there Streak.com, and then mail wise like MailChimp, and now want to try like ActiveCampaign. What do like SalesLoft and Outreach focus on? Which part? Are they more on the IM?
Sales engagement. Yeah, so they're a sales engagement platform. So no, they're not on the IM side. So what they allow you to do is create a sequence of activities that a sales team or a customer success team can execute against. So instead of like, let's say I want to reach out to you, Vincenzo, you're a target product for me, they're target market for me, and I'm going to try to reach out to you eight times in the course of 3 weeks. Imagine you can program LinkedIn Connect, LinkedIn Research, like or comment on a post, email, call, whatever, in one centralized place. And then I've got 200 different people at different steps of this process to manage that. It is the most table stakes part of any organization. Then you flip to I think the customer success use case is the same. I sign you as a customer. I've got set touch points I want to have with you throughout the next 12 months. I'm going to have those set touch points with you. So those tools to me are just a table stakes. Or what are you going to do? Remember to follow up with someone or create tasks? No, you're not going to create tasks.
And then, how small do they go? They look like a little bit more for large enterprises.
Outreach will sell you one license. They'll sell you one license.
And what's that typically for?
I don't, off the top of my head, maybe 120 a month.
Okay.
Maybe something like that. Okay. Like it's more, but you got to think about it. And how about this? If you're a really small company and you're really just trying to like get initial traction and you don't care, and you could even use dispositions as some type of like, tracking for your for deals. But, it's like you can run a lot of your day-to-day out of it.
No, that's actually, the automation is actually what I was looking for. And, product sales, product-led growth, the book I told you about it, is like giving a lot of examples of like emails to send. They really focus on emails. Seems like these other types of sales engagement tools are also, I noticed from the website, they had a little bit of the call that person and do that,
Yeah,
I don't know if we're that high. I don't know if we're that high touch. I guess based on what I've read, you can be high touch if your ticket sales are a lot higher, right? So if you're selling stuff for $1,000 a month, then I guess you have enough. It's value. What you're selling is valuable enough. But for instance, for Share.view, we're like $5, $35 a month. It's probably like maybe at the beginning you want to do some calls just for market development and market understanding, but you probably don't want to scale that way, or I don't know.
Depends on the site, because that's 35 per user, right?
Yeah, true, per user. Yeah.
Right. So if I have 10 people in my sales org, that's 350. So yeah, there's a kind of a certain scale where it's like, anything under 10, but I wouldn't call it product led though. I don't think that's the right. I would say it's the difference between a sales led organization and a marketing led organization. At $35, you are a marketing-led organization where you need to be all about conversion funnels and inserting a human only when it makes sense to get people over the hump, right? And I think that's what I would kind of get at if I were you. It's like what are the automate, and that's where like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign come in. MailChimp and ActiveCampaign are great for like send all emails, right? Like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Whereas these tools are more for like the next level. You want to personalize step 3. You want to connect on LinkedIn versus send an email. Like it's those types of things.
Well, connect on LinkedIn, that's new, but send an email, they do it. What else aside from connect on LinkedIn? I noticed like call, I guess, like try to set up a call as well, or.
No, I mean, think of it. All they are containers of activities. Step 2 could be send a piece of mail. It could be send a handwritten note. Could be step 3. Imagine with these tools, you can set up whatever you want in these eight steps. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely take a look. I actually just was texting Outreach to ask them about the pricing, and I'll definitely try to give it a shot. I mean, I'm really all about the tool. I think tools are extremely important. So I've been spending a lot of time studying the tools. Like in terms of other tools that are like
chat. So here's the thing with chat. Like, how many people are coming to your website? Like, like in the other, like I hate, like it depends. Especially a product like yours, you cannot use like a drift or a bot. It has to be live chat. Like if you use a bot, it'll just slow the deal down. Like you need someone to come in, click, answer 2 questions, convert. Not like a bot. Well, tell me more about this, and tell me more about this, and tell me more about like. No, dude. If like your product, I need you to convert as fast as possible with the least amount of work as possible. That's how I would think about it. And then the other one, like Zendesk Sell, like they've got a new platform. Zendesk released like a sales version. Drift would be the other one that I would say in the States is a player.
Feels like expensive, no? Like Drift starts out at quite a lot more than others, if I remember right from what I think my brother was telling me. He's also a tech entrepreneur. I can't remember exactly. And Zendesk, I'm interested in the sell part. I haven't heard if that's new. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
Whenever I was seeing from the outside in terms of their support stuff, I hated those emails with all their garbled text, like blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, I'm never going to use them. So it's
built for salespeople. So it's built for sales organizations. So take a look. I haven't looked at it recently, so I don't know if it's going to be helpful or not.
I mean, that's what you gotta do. You gotta always keep looking at these different tools, and it's like a puzzle, right? So it's like there's not a right or wrong tool, but it's like how does that fit into your overall picture, and what's the right next step to get you to the other third step. And then in terms of like any other tools that you'd like to share that you've seen, like
if you're a small business, I mean, I think, look, for me, here's the core tech stack. If you're a small SaaS, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, have to have it, right? Why? You can build lists, you can connect with people faster than it just saves you so much time. Like I said, trying to connect with 82 targeted buyers in 12 minutes is impossible without it. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator. The next is like Outreach or SalesLoft. Outreach is our main partner. So that's an easy one, right? Then you need a tool that gives you access to data. So that could be, Seamless.ai, Lead IQ, Sales Intel, Discover Org, Zoom Info.
Wait, you're going really fast. Seamless.ai or?
Lead IQ is another one that'll scrape LinkedIn. Lucia is another one that'll scrape LinkedIn. But then there's like the main one is like, Zoom Info, right? If you want like the best, and then like right underneath that, I would go with salesintel.io. So like once you have a clean set of data, a way to action on, like a way to build lists, a clean set of data, and then a way to action on those people, then you're kind of, and then obviously a CRM, right? Which my suggestion would be, if you're super small, I'd go with HubSpot. If you're as soon as you want to scale, then immediately switch to Salesforce.
Like I tried them both, and like as a tech small entrepreneur, like Salesforce just felt impossible. Like, and I used Salesforce back in the days at Nokia, and that was like a nightmare. And then I went back and still like so complicated. I would say still unnecessarily complicated in many ways, still a lot of UX issues. HubSpot felt a lot better. To be honest, HubSpot feels a lot better for, I think, a small company.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just
it's got
so
like a
sorry
good
that
all-in-one. It's got like a good all-in-one. They have a marketing automation tool, a CRM, and they have a version of Outreach or SalesLoft. A version.
Yeah, for me, my biggest issue, I'm sure they will improve it, but that chat part, like I wish that was done well. Like right now, it's so subpar, and like the app to manage the chat, it's really so subpar. That's a shame. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna improve it because it feels like they just released it, or they released it relatively recently. I was actually thinking about reaching out to them. I saw one of them is following me, one of their VPs, like to try to understand like when is the new stuff coming before I drop it. So yeah, so connect on LinkedIn with sales navigators, outreach or SalesLoft for these automations, and tools for like building the lists. We said Seamless.ai, LeadIQ, Lucia. How do you spell Lucia?
Lusha. Double check that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. ZoomInfo, SalesIntel.io, and then CRM like HubSpot, all Salesforce, and I already told you guys what I feel about them. Yeah. What about like kind of any other automation stuff? I mean, I really do believe in automation, right? So any other automation tools that you've seen or that you've...
I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but for most, if you're a growing entrepreneur, that's good. You know what I mean? Like, look, dude, there's like 1,200 sales technology companies, right? Like, me throwing 900 more at you, like, you know, then there's like the phone tools, right? Then there's, you know, seeing where your integrations are. Like, no, that's good enough.
I mean, like, for instance, phone tools I would avoid because I'm just myself against receiving a phone call. So I just don't want to give it to somebody else. You know, it's just, it's also a matter of generation, right? I mean, like, I mean, yeah, maybe you know, I see you going like, I guess not, you know, what's been your experience with phone tools, whatever you, or with anyways using phone calls to sell?
Are you talking about like are you talking about just using the phone or
anything? Like like I said, I'm personally against any phone calls because like unless you schedule it with me, I don't want to receive your phone call. And I try to stay less on the phone, like, cause it's just, you know, it is true that like video communication, you're just so much more there, right? When people are on the phone, they're just like not really there, and it's just like they're doing something else. And it's just like the whole productivity level of just calling is just bad. It's distracting. It's not deep. So that's why I'm against phone calling. But you know, I see you were like disagreeing, so I was wondering what you were thinking, because I love people who disagree.
Here's what it is. I can tell you, my phone is ringing less than it's ever rang in the last 2 weeks. I think if you have a product or a solution, I was talking to an outsourced lead gen company. They set 70% of their meetings via phone. And I think the phone is the easiest. It is the hardest of all methods. And it's why people struggle with it, because they don't persevere past it. It takes time to perfect it and to get it right. And it's an integrated strategy. Like, the phone is a part of all the other stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah,
of course, it has to be integrated. It can't stay on its own. And what tools have you seen in the phone space that you like? I mean, I was hearing a lot about AirCall, but I didn't really look into it. Are they leading player, or have you used them?
I mean, they're like a smaller like player, but no, I mean, AirCall is fine. Like, we use AirCall. It's like a good basic phone tool. But no, I was talking more about like coaching tools, like Gong.io, for example. Or
I recently saw that. Yeah. So have you had experience with Gong.io? What have you seen?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, but you got to be able to coach to it, right? Gong.io is about like AI analyzing every single one of your sales calls. So when did you bring this up? How did you bring this up? What was the tone? Who talked more? All this stuff. So it's more like once your team gets bigger, you know, and like you need to coach and hear and monitor.
How many people would you say? 20, 30, 50 or?
That's right. Yeah, I think like 20, like 15, 20 is where it becomes.
So maybe let's go back to people, right? Like, you know, let's say like if you're about to just start building your sales organization, like, I mean, what would you do? Like, I mean, I could tell you what I'm thinking, and maybe then you can again like scold me or correct me, or just you can go straight to give us your thought. You can go either way.
For what?
So for like building your sales team, right? So do you start? I mean, first of all, I've been hearing a lot about founders should first sell themselves to figure out like the right way to sell. So okay, I figure out a process. Now I can coach this person to follow this process and sell more.
That's
right.
Correct.
Because if you just put somebody to be like, do whatever, like you have no idea. Number one.
Yeah, you can't expect someone to figure out your business for you. That's your job.
Yeah.
You can't expect you're going to hire someone from the outside and they're magically going to figure it out for you.
Exactly. And then you basically, you in terms of sales figures, you got this SDRs, right? The sales development representatives, which are the people that basically like kind of get leads and warm up the lead. No, actually, those are the people who like build up the leads, right?
Well, they build up and they reach out. They set meetings or set qualified opportunities.
But then again, like probably that's just for like if you have a bit of a bigger sales like ticket items or.
But you got to think about it. Like, do you want to pay a salesperson to source leads and reach out to people? I don't know, right? Like for your sale needs to be inbound led. Like SDRs for you are maybe about, like bigger accounts. Yeah, like not the super small one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and how would you go? Let's say for like a small like new enterprise like this. Like how would you go about like setting up your sale aside from doing it yourself and figure out something that works?
That's the only option. Same thing with like marketing. Like, for you, if you guys can't start to figure out what is the customer journey, like what does this look like, and then start to whittle it down. How to get people to convert at like scale, that's where this becomes interesting. First you do things that are unscalable to just drive results. Yes. And then you worry about okay, like, well, can I automate that? Can I do that? Where companies fails when they try to automate too much too quick. They try to go the opposite way. They try to automate things and then conversion sucks. And then they try to like unautomate certain parts. Whereas that's just not what I've seen be successful. What I've seen be successful is you kind of put together what converts at a higher rate, and then you try to look for ways to tweak it versus like focusing on like everything being about that.
Absolutely. And like in terms of going back to those like kind of sales figures that you see that you think are like kind of most important, we mentioned just SDRs, but what else do we have there? What do you think are some of the most important sales figures?
I mean, I think the key is like, what I always say is, look, hire where you have holes. And what I mean by that is if you have a lead problem, don't go hire a bunch of salespeople. If you have a sales problem, don't go hire more lead gen people. So I think, with a lot of first-time founders, to me, break the sales into different components, right? And so for me, I would think like, do you have a leads problem right now, or do you have a sales problem? If you have a leads problem, go hire someone who's going to help you generate leads, and then you take over sales. And then once you've built out your playbook, then you go hire an account executive. So I think going back to some of the things you said before, like that's it. It's like, do you have a sales problem? Do you have a leads problem? Do you have a data problem? Like, where do you have the problems? And then go hire someone who can help you with that, or look for a tech that can help you with that, versus hiring salespeople. A lot of people just jump and start hiring account executives, and they're like, yeah, we're going to hire 2 more salespeople. I'm like, but you have a lead gen problem. Go hire a lead gen person next. Hire no more salespeople. Make those salespeople, doing more laps around the track because they have more meetings, as opposed to hiring some one-size-fits-all salespeople. And like that's the disconnect. A lot of people don't take that time.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying you got to divide in leads or sales. So first you got to figure out if you have enough leads. If you don't have, first get those leads, and once you have enough, you can focus yourself on the sales side, and then once you've taken care of enough sales, you can try to hire some more people to do it.
Build out like the beginning of repeatability. Once you're like, what, I've ran 20 people through this process, from a sales standpoint, and it kind of looks like this, and we've got enough leads to feed this person, or at least somewhat. Now you're ready to hire a salesperson. Same thing on the lead gen side, right? Like if you don't know how to generate leads, like expecting someone to come in and figure it out is very slim.
Yeah.
Like the best story I have for you is a guy, Brett Adcock. who's a CEO at a company called Vettery. They sold to Adecco for $100 million. And what he did is, look, nobody could figure out SDR. They hired 4, 5, 6 people, couldn't figure it out. Brett fired himself as the CEO and hired himself as the SDR, figured it out in a month, cold called, emailed, figured it out, and then backfilled and hired, and then 18 months later sold his company for $100 million. So you can't, that is how you get shit done. If you keep relying on other people to magically figure stuff out for you, it ain't gonna happen for you. That's what separates entrepreneurs from entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs want these things to happen. They want other people to do it versus they get in this shit like it's your business. You figure out the problem.
I have an even worse description of entrepreneur. That's the guys who like haven't even built anything, would like to build something, haven't even built it, and are calling themselves entrepreneurs. But anyways, it's always still good. Even those guys, we still need you, because at some point you start building something, and later you'll
who cares if you can build something if nobody wants it?
Like for sure. But it's steps, right? There was the guy who just wanted to build something. Then there's the guy who builds it, and then there's the guy who gets the leads, and there's the guy who sells it. But and aside from lead generation, sales, there's still this press or just general marketing. Like, how would you place those components, right, as part of this puzzle?
Well, it all depends on your market. Like I said, you're either marketing led, sales led, or product led, right? And the product can be like a part of both of these, actually, to help with upsells and conversions. But it's again, if your average sales price, you kind of hit it on the head. If it's under $1,000, under $1,000 a month, under $600 a month, you got to focus on marketing. Marketing being the engine to drive things, and then as it creeps up, or it's got to be really transactional. I can get you on the phone, 1 call, 2 call, close you. Right? Like that, it's just got to be a quick sales cycle. But marketing's got to be the one responsible for driving a lot of the interest. And as the deal size goes up, then, you're going out and you're able to make sales a bigger part of that. But I think, it's a pretty simple formula. It's like, if it's a transactional product, marketing's got to generate leads. You can't afford, to your point, you said this before, you can't afford to have people doing a bunch of outbound on it.
Yeah, if you don't know if it works or not. In terms of some maybe tech companies or SaaS, is there anyone that you could share that we can take a look at what they've done and maybe check out their website or anything like that?
Are you talking about for what about what specifically they've done? Maybe
more on the marketing led stuff, right? So just to stay on topic. If you have any examples of companies you've helped on a marketing side, and maybe there's anything we can see on their website, and just to see hey, look up, this is what we've done, right? Type of thing. And I know it might be hard to call anything off the top of your head, and if you can,
we're not like a marketing firm. I'm not going to rewrite your website for you. That's not my job. My job is to help you sell shit, right? And I'm not our team is super strong on the social stuff, on LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn strategy, etc. But I would say we're not the company you hire to redo your website. That's not our jam. Or to do super high conversion click funnel stuff. There's people that's their jam. You know what I mean? For us, we're much better once you have to start to get some sales motion involved. That's our jam, right? So a lot of the work that we do is more, once you interact with the team, it shows up, versus it's something you just go to a website and see necessarily.
And so, okay, cool. And so basically things if let's say, because I was thinking about that, we have our product, we can go check out conversations and posts that already happen on LinkedIn, and go comment on that and try to engage, either, for instance, in our case, there's people sharing PDFs, and sometimes they share a huge PDF on LinkedIn, and they don't ask for either comment or reach out to me, so I send you the complete slide deck or anything like that. So those could be also some use cases. And is that basically also kind of some of the stuff that you've done with some companies to basically see some LinkedIn content that you could engage with to?
Yeah, I would go check out. There's a client of ours, a company called I'm trying to think who would be a good one to go check out that we can reference. A lot of the work we're doing, actually a good one would be the New York Jets. If you go to the New York Jets and you go look at what their their sales team like is putting out right now, that's all us working with their team. So if you go to the New York Jets, they're an NFL team. That'd be a great one.
Should I go to their LinkedIn and just see like, it's kind of hard to go there, like, or their website, or where do you think I should go?
I would go click on their sales team. Like go start to look at the posts that their sales team's putting out.
Yeah.
And that's 100% of the type of content we're working, right? As opposed to, the Jets are the best, or we're good, or we're going to be better this season. Getting them to talk more thought leadership, what's happening, build a voice, build an audience, connect with more CEOs, all that.
Cool. I'll definitely check it out. I'm trying to check it out right now. And then if I see like, so they have like 552 employees. I mean, I'm not sure if we can, let me share the screen right now, just in case you spot anything. Yeah. I'm not sure that straight from these posts there's anything that
you got to go to the you can see here. Look what they're posting. So they're posting behind the scenes videos. Scroll up, back up. They're posting. They're posting about their partners. Right, this is money. Right, so this is one of their partners. Right, one of their I don't know if it's a sponsorship. So again, they're not just talking about the team. They're promoting their clients. They're promoting their partners, right? Most teams are focused on team stuff. And these guys are, at least we're working with them to do like a mix of this,
Yeah.
And so if you go to the key is like, they hosted a lunch. They hosted a lunch with Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Yeah. And so they're talking about what some of the takeaways were out of the Q&A. So, but this is their marketing team. If you click on the employees and you start to see what the sales team, that's where a lot of our work is.
Awesome. I'm definitely gonna, there's a bunch of times where I like connect with the different people at some companies just to like see what's going on, right? I did that with the guys at StreamYard or Restream, just because I think like we definitely had a huge kick with the live streaming and just like online solutions. I think we're still gonna see a lot in terms of online events, because I think no one has figured out how to do an online event properly, right? And I think this whole COVID situation is gonna last for a long time. So for sure. So I think, like I mentioned many times, like, like we usually try not to go over the hour, just to like set, minimum 30 minutes, max an hour, because after that we're just so tired, right? And everybody gets so tired. But it's been like, I really had to look at time. I was like, damn, already 56 minutes. And I was like sad that it was over. And I definitely learned a lot. I definitely felt like there's a lot that can be learned from you, and I'm sure a lot of other people felt that. So I think that was the most important thing that needed to come across. Maybe I'll let you go if there's anything you wanted to say in the last few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, check out, always follow me on LinkedIn. It's Jake Dunlap. It's pretty straightforward. If you're in sales or marketing, you're looking for what modern companies are doing, even if you're on the front lines, you're a rep, DM, follow, like we put out a lot of very tactical content as well as strategic. So go check it out.
Yeah, and I'm adding, your LinkedIn on my different networks. Like definitely, you're someone people should link up with and connect and learn from. Definitely appreciate your time here, and a lot of stuff I need to go back and check out. But also that general clarity around, like, don't focus right now on sales. And I kind of knew it already. Focus more on lead gen. We can definitely do more lead gen. But I think, I don't know if there is anything like that. There needs to be some of those like big sales charts to just say like, this is what you should do, right? This is what you should do when. But I guess it all depends, like different companies at different stages in different markets. Yeah,
just run the playbook, man. Like if you could just Google like revenue growth with under $1,000 ARR product, there's going to be 800 things. Like, dude, never reinvent the wheel. I tell my team this all the time. If you have a question, don't come to me. Go to Google and YouTube first, and then come to me. Because Google, we have 7 billion people on the planet fucking Earth. Do you think that most things have already been figured out? Like, don't reinvent the wheel. Like, you want to know what your play should be? Go look at like marketing-led, like sales organization, and there'll be like 9,000 examples, and just read it and run their plays and iterate on it. Like, stop reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned this, marketing-led stuff. I need to read more about it. I mean, I mentioned product-led. It's just the name of a book.
Product-led is hope. I mean, I don't know who this dude is, but that's hope and mirrors, man. If you really think a product's gonna sell itself, good luck, dude. Again, they're so far in between, man. Like Slack. Everyone's like, well, what about Slack? I'm like, cool. How many other companies are there? You know, millions. Okay, great. Right? If you go raise $200 million, you can build a product-led company. Go show me one company that didn't raise a boatload of money and was product-led. That's a luxury because you raise a lot of money that you then get to go and product-led. That's not actually, I am like the I hate it. It's like I'm all about Steve Blank, which is the customer development model. You don't build product and release. You develop with customers. So anyway, sorry.
No. This was amazing. I mean, I do have his book here, so I know like I gotta reopen up that.
Read the 4 steps to the epiphany.
The 4 steps to the epiphany. Actually, I haven't read that. I was reading his manual, but I will do that again. And what's so amazing about the live is that, like, you know, there can be this kind of discussions and content a bit more real, which, you know, you might not be able to do over your own video because you feel like too much of a hater in saying what you just said. But what you said is just like, it's not hater at all. It's just like,
you can put it on
no. But I love this because, you know, it's like I realized that, you know, I was on Friday where like, I mean, I was totally nuts about this book and this guy, and I still love him. I still love the book. But now I also see what you're saying, and I mean, I know that it's you gotta live in it. You know.
Good product can help, and good product marketing can really help. People who know how to create functions within the product that then get you deeper as a user, I'm all about. Right? Everyone's end goal is one thing: power users. That's it. It's not signed contract; it's power users. If you build a company that's dedicated to get people to power usage, you've won. Right, but along that journey, you've got to close the deal too. So,
but that's why closing on this, I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna focus still on more of the influencers from LinkedIn because they are power users in everything they do. The influencers, they just like post, do stuff. So
that's right.
I'm gonna try that out. I'll keep you posted, anyways. It was great connecting. Thanks again one more time for joining and sharing.
Thanks everyone.
Be in touch. Thanks everyone. Ciao.